Hey, this is Dennis. It's Tuesday. I want to get back in the Bible study. We're in the book of John, chapter 9, verse 13. And they brought to the Pharisees him that aforetime was blind. The guy that Jesus said healed his blindness. And it was the seventh day when Jesus made the clay and opened his eyes. Oh, Lord, that's what tore the Jews up right there. But for Jesus, it's okay to be doing God's work on the Sabbath. And that, for him, was healing this guy. Then again, the Pharisees also asked him how he had received his sight, and he answered them, He put clay upon my eyes, and I washed, and do see. Therefore said some of the Pharisees, This man is not of God, because he keepeth not the Sabbath day. Talking about Jesus. Others said, How can a man that is a sinner do such miracles? And there was a division among them. They said unto the blind man again, What sayest thou of him that he hath opened thine eyes? He said, He is a prophet. But the Jews did not believe concerning him that he had been blind and received his sight, until they called the parents of him that had received his sight. And they asked them, saying, Is this your son, who you say was born blind? How then doth he now see? His parents answered them and said, We know that this is our son, and that he was born blind. But by the means he now seeth, we know not. Or who hath opened his eyes, we know not. He is of age, ask him, he shall speak for himself. These words spake his parents because they feared the Jews, for the Jews had agreed already that if any man did confess that he was the Christ, that's talking about Jesus, he should be put out of the synagogue. Therefore said his parents, He is of age, ask him. Then again called they the man that was blind, and said unto him, Give God the praise. We know that this man is a sinner. So these Pharisees, they calling Jesus a sinner. He answered and said, Whether he be a sinner or no, I know not. One thing I know, that whereas I was blind, now I see. He knows that for a fact. Then said they unto him, What did he do to thee? How opened he thine eyes? He answered them, I have told you already, and you did not hear. I've already told you, and you guys ain't listening to me. Why are you asking me again? Will you also be his disciples? I would think this is the Pharisees that asked him that. Are you going to be his disciple, the disciple Jesus now? Then they reviled him and said, Thou art his disciple, but we are Moses' disciples. We know that God spake unto Moses, and as for this man, Jesus, we know not from whence he is. The man answered and said unto them, so this guy is talking to the Pharisees, Why herein is a marvelous thing. To me, saying, well, look at here at this marvelous thing. I was born blind, and now I see. That ye know not from whence he is, and yet he hath opened mine eyes. Now we know that God heareth not sinners. So he's talking to the Pharisees. He said, we know God ain't listening to a sinner. But if any man be a worshipper of God, and doeth his will, him he heareth. Since the world began, was it not heard that any man opened the eyes of one that was born blind? So to me, this guy that was healed of his blindness, he asked the Pharisees, have you ever heard since the world began that a man was born blind and was healed of that where he could see? And to me, the answer is no. Not since the world began. If a fellow was born blind, he's going to stay blind. If this man were not of God, he could do nothing. So this is the guy talking to the Pharisees. They answered and said unto him. So the Pharisees, they're talking back to this guy that was healed of his blindness. Thou was altogether born in sins. And does thou teach us? You trying to teach us? And they cast him out. Well, God bless y'all. Walk with God one day at a time.